Now, before we get started, this is not meant to be some sort of a formal interaction between us and the student or between me and Brandon. This is supposed to be a space where if you have any concerns, if you have any questions, we're here to address those questions for you. Um, my name is Jay Acosta, and I am one of the admissions officers at Rutgers University in Newark. Um, Aside from that, I am a two-time alumni from Rutgers University, Newark. I actually earned both my bachelor's and my master's degree at Rutgers University, Newark. I also lived uh, for a little over 20 years within the city of Newark. So if you have any questions of what it's like to be a resident within the city of Newark, I can address those questions for you. Um, Today, we have a special guest. He's actually a recent alumni from Rutgers University, Newark. He just graduated today. So I have Brandon here from the Newark College of Arts and Sciences. Go ahead, Brandon.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Jacob. As you already know, my name is Brandon. I was, I am currently part of the Scarlet Ambassador program here on campus. So basically, it is a program for the students here on campus, where I work closely with the admissions team, give campus tours, all that fun stuff. Um, I am graduated with a double major in journalism and video production within the Department of Arts, Culture, and Media, which is a chapter in the Newark College of Arts and Sciences. And I currently, at the moment, live in Jersey City. I used to commute from Jersey City to New Jersey to Newark. So if you have any questions about commuting, majoring in journalism or video production, or anything I just mentioned, or just in general, what's like being a student that's a commuter, or just the Newark life and what's there to do, the cool things about Newark, or just about the campus, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to help.
Yeah, Brandon is very representative of the student population within Rutgers University, Newark. We have a number of students that not just only work within the Office of Admissions, but they work within the Office of Financial Aid. They could work within the athletics department. They could work with any other department within the university, within the business school, the School of Public Affairs and Administration, criminal justice, you name it. Pretty much every department within the school has student workers like Brandon who assist them with their everyday duties. Now, um, as I mentioned before, there's a chat feature here. But if you unmute your mic, you can go right ahead and ask any questions. I'm going to start pretty much like interviewing Brandon, but that's not the purpose of it. So if you have any questions throughout the conversation, you're more than welcome to jump in. Or if any questions arise through our conversation, you could use the chat feature. We also have Jessica here, who is also a staff member within the admissions department, and she could also address some of the questions that you might have. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to put them through the chat feature. And with that said, I'm gonna get started here. So, Brandon, when you were in high school, what was like the number one motivation that you had for going to college?
It's a great question. So for me, uh, in being in high school is wow, that's like being a senior in high school. That's like 4 years ago. Um, so for me, the main motivation for me was I just saw it as a new way to open more opportunity for me to open more doors for my career, for to meet new people, just kind of experience life outside of Jersey City. A lot of people told me to go to NJCU or different universities within the city. But however, I decided to go to Rutgers University, Newark, because I just saw it as a new way to stay within close to home, but also experience life in a new city and also in a new campus and everything. So for me, um, I saw college as a kind of a my main motivation for going to college was to kind of take that next step after high school and just kind of progress.
Yeah. For me, it was very different when I was thinking about going. I mean, Jesus Christ, we're talking about a long time ago. We're talking about decades ago. When I'm talking about me, like when you're talking about you just graduated now. So 4 years ago, were you thinking about, oh, I'm going to graduate in 4 years and complete my degree in 4 years? How how is your mentality now looking back at, when you were transitioning from high school?
Looking back at, also see we have a question in chat, but I'll just answer this one. Um, Looking back at it from 4 years ago, definitely, had the mindset. So my guidance counselor was telling me, complete it in 4 years, but if you need 5 or 6, that's okay. I just kind of had the mindset to take it, just do the 4 years, kind of streamline that process, to take it in 4 years and get the bachelor's, and then maybe if graduate school's in the picture, go into that 2 year path or however long it'll take. But I know there's some other programs at the undergraduate level that it might take longer, but that also helps with the in the master's and graduate program.
Yeah. Um, so, to address the Peter's question here, um, Brandon, you coming from Jersey City. What part of Jersey City you from?
I'm from so it's kind of it Jersey kind of has like its own like little like subsection. So I'm from the Greenville West. Yeah. So it has like it's kind of its own subset. I'm from the Greenville West Side area of Jersey City, so that's near like the 440 highway. For me, it's kind of for me, Peter, it's the best way to commute to Newark. I like the car, but if you're taking morning classes, the traffic is going to be a hassle. Um, I do enjoy taking the bus to Newark from Jersey City. For me, the parking situation here on campus, it's really good. I believe we're adding a new parking deck that's going to be in operation, I think, this coming semester or the semester coming. I know we have 4 parking decks on campus, so to accommodate for the drivers that come to campus. Is it paid parking? So I believe how that works is there is a parking permit that you have to purchase, um, and that's done facilitated through the Office of Commuter and Parking Services. But I know there's flexible plans, so there's multiple plans you could do. You could do for the fall semester, for the spring semester, or for the whole year. However, which way you want to do, that's completely up to you.
Yeah, just to go back to the whole commuting aspect. We are an urban institution, and given the fact that we are a city urban institution, we have approximately 14,500 students on our campus. Out of the 14,500, a little over 2,000 of them, so just a little over 2,000 of them actually live on campus. So that tells you that approximately 12,000 of our students actually commute to campus every day. It is a very, 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 very accessible campus.
Yeah.
When you think about any highway within the state of New Jersey, there's a really good chance that almost all the highways that go around the city of Newark, you know of, or you probably drive through one of these at some point during the week. The Parkway, the Turnpike, 280, 21, 22. Um, you could take 78. You could take Route 3 to Route 21. You could take Route 7. Coming from Jersey City, you could take 440. You could take 109. 109 into Raymond Boulevard, a very popular route for students coming from Jersey City. We have a bus lane, we have a bike lane. When we say all roads lead to Newark, the city was actually designed for you to actually be able to access our institution. We have one train station right across the street from the business school on our campus. It's probably about 2 blocks from the main campus. We also have Penn Station within walking distance. I'm going to say between 10-15 minute walk distance from our campus. And from Penn Station, you can pretty much access the entire United States from Penn Station. We are about a 10 to 15 minute train ride from New York City. And we also have an airport. So, when I
Yeah.
tell you we are one of the most accessible universities, this is not to downplay. We are a very accessible university when it comes to our commuting population. In terms of parking, I had the opportunity of my own personal experience. I did drive to campus my first 2 years. I lived at one of the fraternity houses for most of that time, but I commuted. I lived off campus and I lived on campus. And I always tell students, even if you plan to commute, I always recommend for students to live on campus for at least maybe a semester or a year just to test it out. But most of our students never experience the living on campus experience, but it's something that I always recommend to our students. You commute in between campuses if you have different classes in different buildings. When it comes to our classes, they're all within walking distance. We are about, it's like a 50-acre area. It's not that big of a walking distance. You can literally schedule all your classes back to back, and you can get to all of them within walking time. I will say the furthest building for an undergraduate student will probably be the business school. And when it comes to the graduate students, depending on what program, the furthest buildings, you're probably thinking about the School of Medicine and maybe the School of Dentistry. Uh, those are within walking distance, but I would prefer taking a shuttle just because it's like a 20 to 30-minute walking. But driving will probably be between 5 to 10 minutes in that area. And the area where the medical school and the dental school are, it's not a lot of traffic. But the area where our campus is, it's very high traffic, a lot of traffic on our campus. Now, if any other programs, we'll continue with our questions, and then if you have any questions, just keep putting them on, and we'll keep addressing your questions. But let me keep going with the conversation here. So you graduated, you graduated from high school. You got your own motivation for going to college. What was the specific reason why you went to Rutgers University, Newark?
For me, for why Rutgers University Newark in comparison to the other universities I got accepted to, it was one, it was close to home. I enjoyed once it was pointed out to me that hey, you could take a bus and it drops you like walking distance to the campus. I thought, okay, great. I'm a big hockey fan, so to have that to be within proximity of the New Jersey Devils, of the New York Red Bulls, plays in Harrison, to be within that sports territory is really great. Um, and to also have be to experience a new campus is really great. Also the diversity. That was probably one of the number one things I was looking for in a campus. And so when I found out that Rutgers Newark was actually one of the number was one of the top schools ranked in diversity, I thought I had to jump on this immediately. And so that was essentially my reasoning at the time when I was coming out of high school.
I don't think when I was in high school I knew what diversity was, and it's kind of surprising, like what students, a lot of students nowadays considering going into diverse universities. Rutgers University, as you said, has been ranked as the most diverse university in the country for a little over 20 years. And this year we actually tied up with a community college in Hawaii, just to give students an idea of how diverse our university is. Halfway across the world, that's the level of diversity we have. Somewhere right across the world, there's a community college in Hawaii that matches the diversity that we have here at Rutgers University, Newark. So it gives you a little bit of perspective in terms of how diverse our university is. We have over 100 different nationalities represented. We have over 60 different languages spoken on campus, religious backgrounds, political thinking, um, single parents, veterans, students with disabilities. When it comes to thinking about what diversity is, it's a wide spectrum of different personalities, different thoughts, religious backgrounds, cultural, ethnic backgrounds, languages, and a combination of that too. So it's something that, when we speak about diversity, it's just diversity everywhere. And you'll see it. The second you step foot on campus, you'll see it right away, the diversity that we have here on campus. So next question. We got a couple questions here, but we'll get to those. Um, so obviously you chose to commute. Um, Now, did you did you go to any specific thought process in thinking about living on campus or commuting, or because you lived in Jersey City, you decided that commuting was the best choice for you?
Well, for me, it was mainly when I got enrolled into the university. It was the initial plan was to do 2 years by commuting just to build that sense of responsibility, just to make sure that I would actually wake up and go to class, because if you're dorming, you're living by yourself. The responsibility of you going to classes and stuff is kind of more pitted on you. So the original plan was to do 2 years commuting, and then the last 2 years to dorm. But then once I got into the swing of commuting um, and just getting used to that lifestyle, I just stuck with it for the 4 years, and so it was pretty easy for me to commute from Jersey City to Newark, um, thanks to the there's a thanks to the number one at the bus route, the number one bus route. I take that and it drops me off right next to the campus. Sometimes if I go to Journal Square, I take the train. I take the PATH train to Newark Penn Station, and it drops me off, and I just walk the distance to campus. But yeah, just the my that was my main motivation for me, just kind of being already closely being close to the area of Newark. Just I figured it would just be an easy segue for me to commute from Jersey City to Newark.
Um, a lot of students when they're commuters and they don't live on campus, they feel as if they're not getting the full experience because they're not living on campus. What did you do specifically, or what specific opportunities did you choose to go after to make sure that you were a part of the community and that you were engaged within the university?
Oh yeah, for sure. So for me, I I definitely had that feeling of the not feeling like being a part of the campus. But then I got into some organizations on campus. Um, I I got a little bit more involved with the campus, like attending, like working with the Office of Admissions. That definitely helped me feel like a larger part of the campus. Being a part of events like open house, Admitted Students Day, um, and just kind of and uh, administering and things like that. I helped me feel like I was a bigger part of the campus. And then once I got into my majors like journalism and video production, and kind of got more involved with those programs, and there are like organizations within those programs that you can be involved in, and you can once you're involved with those, then I felt more. I've kind of felt more at home on campus, and then slowly but surely, Rutgers Newark became my home away from home.
Yeah, no, that's it's very interesting how I I always see like if a student comes first year and they live on campus, they probably stay on campus all 4 years. But if the first year they come in and they're a commuter, once they figure out their schedule, how to get to school, they're like, oh, this is a good fit for me. I'm just gonna commute for the rest of my journey here. So very interesting how you just commuted the whole 4 years. Now, so you journalism and video production. How did you go about selecting your major at Rutgers Newark?
It's a great question. So it was funny enough. I believe, walking from classes, and saw this event going on in the campus center. And so it was the major minor fair. And so at my first year, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do, and then I kind of gravitated towards those tables or those panels. And so when I saw video production, I thought, hey, I want to do that. I went ahead, asked for some information. They told me what the program requires, what the program entails, and so I started to hop on. I started to get a little interested in the video production track, and then once I realized, there's journalism and video production are both in the same kind of like department, arts, culture, and media. I figured, why not double major in it? And then once I looked at the curriculum for both of those programs, I saw that it was pretty much really easy to intertwine them both and still graduate on time. So I thought that was really, really cool.
What were some of the courses that you had to take? Let's say, for example, within video production. Name a few of some of the courses. Name like two or three courses that you had to take within journalism. Maybe two or three within video production. And do you have a favorite course, like a course that you remember? Oh, that was definitely my favorite course
Yeah,
from the program.
for sure, for sure. So for me, for journalism, it would be my top three would be uh not in exact order. I've taken um I would say journalism capstone, which is basically it just kind of culminates everything you've learned in your time in the program. So that's it's basically like at a senior or junior level course you're supposed to take it. So basically culminates everything you learned in the basic course and just puts it all together. I thought that was really wonderful to take the um take whatever I learned and kind of use it to create stories on different platforms. So basically, in that course, you're supposed to make a video, um, along with a story that to accompany it, and then some images, and then put it on what's called Adobe InDesign to make it like a kind of like a newspaper page. And then we did like three of those in the semester, so to really see that come to life in the course in that semester was really wonderful. A second course for me in journalism that I enjoyed a lot was imagery and culture. And so basically within that course is just an analysis of how the images have how the media has evolved through from its genesis to the current day, and how what the from the transition of radio imagery, the moving image, just to see how it like kind of intertwines with field of journalism and its use in society was really great. And then I would say for my last journalism course would be, let me see, there's so many to choose from. I guess the first one that I took that really got me into it. I think it's kind of a tie between basic reporting and journalism ethics in the law. Um, but those are the first two that I took. Was really great. It kind of cemented my decision to pursue this. The professor was wonderful, and she kind of gave me an insight of, hey, the world of journalism is beyond newspapers. It's beyond the newsroom. It goes further than that. It goes into a deeper realm of digital media and way more opportunities than I expected. And then for video production, I enjoyed documentary production. That was a really fun course that really taught me to go beyond my comfort zone and basically explore topics that and stories that really was interesting to me. And and I guess the internships in video production and journalism were really great. Basically, in some programs at Rutgers Newark, they require you to have an internship as part of the curriculum. And so, in my internship in video production, I worked within a social media agency based in Jersey City. So it was like 10 minutes away from my house, which was great. But also taught me about it taught me how I can apply what I've learned in video production into an actual company and put my skills to work. And I just thought it was wonderful.
Do you remember one course that was like your favorite course?
Let me see. I think it's probably probably capstone.
Capstone?
Probably the capstone, yeah.
Interesting. How do you so a lot of students, you have to make an appointment with your academic advisor, and that's how you get your classes together, or that's how you make sure that you're on track towards graduation. Um, within your majors in video production and journalism, how do you describe that relationship with your academic advisor, and how did it help you get to where you are now?
Oh, for sure. So for me, I'm actually the head of the journalism department actually taught some of my courses. So to have that relationship and to speak with her just to confirm like, hey, professor, like sometimes I'd have a discussion either before class or after class and just kind of just make sure that I was still on pace based on the course load for the semester, just to make sure I was still on pace for graduation, just to make sure I'm still maintaining the majors coursework and everything, and just to be that close, to be closely related, and to have that her door was pretty much always open, so to just to walk in and ask any questions that I had regarding my major or anything that would come to mind was really cool. And then it was pretty much the same for video production as well. Being taught by the head of the program really helped build that relationship um, with the head department and slash my advisor, just so they would give me advice on what course to take in these specific semesters, when and then how many courses to take, and just to avoid overloading myself, and just kind of still managing to maintain a 2020 graduation.
Oh, so everyone, go into something else. So if you were going again through the process of, you know looking at schools and applying for college, what is one advice that you could give maybe to a rising senior or maybe a senior, still thinking about school? What will be one advice that you'll give them through the application process?
Definitely, if possible, apply to as many schools as possible. For me, I was given this advice early, and so, oh yeah, also apply as early as possible. Definitely never hurts to apply to universities as soon as possible. Not only does it give you the benefit of knowing, hey, I'm getting into this university, not only do you get your decision quicker, but also it gives you opportunities to look into as you progress through your senior year of high school. So while, you know, some students may have, one or two schools that they just one or two acceptance letters, you may have set yourself ahead of the curve and have a wider choice of five or six. Um, Also, yeah, like I said, also apply as soon as possible. So while some students may get their decision, I want to say like later, the earliest I think we issued decisions. I think the earliest I got my decision when I was in high school was like around December. So it was like kind of like a Christmas gift. So I thought that was pretty good. So definitely apply as much as possible and as early as possible. The Common App is really really good, but for other universities like Rutgers who don't use the Common App, but other programs definitely use those to kind of make the application process way easier.
Yeah, I always recommend for students to follow not just a regular enrollment, a regular application deadline of December 1st, but maybe take advantage of the priority enrollment deadline. Because if you apply by November 1st, you'll get a decision by the last week of January, and if you apply by December 1st, you will get a decision by the last week of February. So obviously, the earlier you apply, the earlier you will get a decision. We are a rolling admissions institution, so even if you don't meet the deadlines, you could still submit an application. Even right now, if you are a senior and you're thinking about applying for the school, you could still submit an application. You'll still get a decision, and you still be reviewed for the fall. So as a rolling admissions institution, um, we take it very serious when students apply at any time, and make sure that we give them a decision um, within due time. Uh, so thank you for that. Now, obviously, you graduated today, right? Congratulations.
Still
So
surreal.
a lot of people are asking. So um, how was the ceremony today? We had the virtual commencement. How did it feel? So the spring semester started in person and then culminated online, obviously the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then now this is your senior, this is your last semester. Um, you did the virtual commencement. So can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the virtual courses that you took, or how did it transition from like in person to virtual? And give us a little bit about the what did you feel like? How did it feel to you to go through like the virtual commencement?
Oh man. So this we started this so this was kind of like if I was to somehow like tell myself in January that that's like when this semester started that things are gonna change significantly. I would have probably laughed and said, yeah, I look, this is my senior year. This is the last semester. Gonna everything's gonna be all right. Oh man, to see things change in such a rapid pace was crazy, but it was a good change. I for me like I've been this whole thing has just been crazy. So we started the semester in person in January, and then things regarding COVID-19 began to surface, and then once it surfaced, it began to snowball amongst the university, and so the discussion amongst professors continued to grow. And so it was already once things before the school decided to convert to remote learning, there was already discussion of what's of if of a remote lesson plan. So professors are already telling us, hey, we don't have the official green light yet, but if if or when it does happen, be ready to have programs like Blackboard, make sure Blackboard's working, make sure programs like WebEx is working, and I think some professors began to use Zoom or Skype, and so make sure you have those accounts up and going because this is it. This we don't know what the nature of COVID-19 is going to continue carrying on, and so it so basically once once it was official that we're pretty much had the rest of the semester remote, then we were already going through remote learning. So to make that transition from in-person classes to remote learning, for me it was pretty much seamless. Things carried on as it would in class, and so except it was only just through the webcam at home. But yeah, it was definitely a unique transition, but I think with the preparation that we were advised for, and so the I think definitely we were definitely in the right path when it came to transitioning to remote learning. I think it's actually a better experience with remote learning compared to in person. Definitely both are not the same experience, but in this is the cards that you know were dealt with. So I think definitely the transition was a step in the right direction.
So it sounds like the professors were already planning to
Yeah.
transition for online learning at one point or another, maybe for their own safety, or maybe they were trying to protect the students. Regardless, they were preparing ahead of time. They were being preemptive, and just forecasting what was going to happen, and then obviously, it happened. Um, so let's talk about commencement. How was virtual commencement? How was graduation online? I always like to tell people like commencement day is like my favorite part of the year. Like
Yeah.
the whole department just goes to graduation, and it's like it's this big. It's like a lot of people, it's like, oh, it's the last day of these students, but for us it's like the first day. We get to do everything all over again. We get to welcome the new students, say goodbye to the students that just graduated. So there's a lot of transition going on. There's a lot of emotion. How did you feel today? How was it to go through that virtual commencement?
Oh man. I'm gonna be honest. It was for me. Uh, it was a tad bittersweet. Uh, the sweet part being, hey, I graduated. I did it. 4 years of hard work. It's here. This is what we got. Um, but then to have the 4 years of of all the memories, all the fun, just that's it. It's over. Um, that was the kind of bitter part for me, and then it not being in the Prudential Center, um, as it has been in years past, to see um, to see my classmates. It's kind of it was kind of a little it was kind of bittersweet in that aspect, but at least now we've been informed that there is going to be an in-person commencement when in-person gatherings are feasible. There's not an exact date yet, but that's in the card. So I've got my cap and gown. It's shipped, so it's on the way. So for those who are tuned in, don't worry. We're still gonna have our in-person commencement. So there's that the moment's still gonna happen, but we don't know when yet. But for now, it's still a time of celebration, so I'm still really happy that the 4 years of work have come and it's paid off. So it's definitely a lot of emotions today, probably the same as it would have been in person, but it's just that things are a little bit different since it's behind a computer screen.
Yeah, I feel like students wouldn't care when commencement will be, as long as it's in person.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, October next year. It don't matter. We'll
Yeah.
we'll we'll do it. It's just it's a big moment. You
Hmm.
just spend all these years of your life. Not just you, but your family goes through this journey with you. They want to see you walk. They want to go through the process of graduation. So I want to know like what students are feeling. How is virtual commencement? So to have you that you went through that experience, that's provide some very good insight that we could tell students about what that looks like. So thank you for sharing. We have questions from Savannah. Hi, Savannah. Are teachers accessible outside of class? Yes.
Yep.
Brennan, how were your teachers in terms of like accessibility?
Oh, they're great. So it varies from professor to professor, but most times, if not all the time, professors will give you their email. They'll give you, and they're pretty responsive on all times of the day. They are, if not within all times of the day, definitely they'll respond to you within the next day. Sometimes I've had professors either have, I think it's Google Voice or their direct phone number, just in case if they had like any urgent matters, like if they're working on an assignment that's due that night, and it's like, oh, professor, I have this question, but I don't know what to do, they'll be more than happy to answer it. So their response, they're very accessible outside the class. Um, Sometimes, like I've said before, if you're like if they'll be in their office door is always open, and all you have to do is just knock on the door, and they'll be happy to help you. But yeah, so they're very accessible outside the classroom, and they're very yeah, they're very helpful.
Yeah, what Brandon said is pretty much describes my own experience when I was a student. When during the first day of class, you'll probably get a syllabus, and the syllabus you'll know right away how accessible that professor is going to be. Some professors will give you their cell phone number, they'll give you an email. If you can reach them on this phone number, try this other phone number. They will tell you right away. This is how accessible I am. I know professors need to have office hours, and they will give you those. They'll tell you, oh, Monday and Tuesdays, I'll be available. Just give me a call. And any other day by appointment. But in terms of like being accessible, I personally, I never had an issue, and I've never heard of a student saying that, oh, I'm trying to reach this professor and I can't reach him. That's something that I haven't experienced myself. I never heard a student say I can't access a specific professor. So yes, are they accessible outside of class? I say so. Yes. So any other questions? We'll be here for a couple of more minutes. Thank you for attending our Coffee with a Counselor today. I'm going to include my email address. This is my email address. I'm sending it here to everyone. So if you have any questions or you're too shy to ask, do not hesitate. I respond within 24, 48 hours. Any questions you might have, shoot them through. And if I can help you, there's a really good chance I could connect you with the person or department that can better address your questions. So with that said, stop the recording. It's not letting me. Changed. So we'll be here for maybe 2 more minutes. And if you guys have any more questions, oh, one more question. Kelsey, here we go. So for students considering continuing to medical school at the university, is there an admission advantage to obtaining a bachelor degree from the university? I am not aware of an advantage transitioning from, for example, the School of Arts and Sciences into the New Jersey Medical School. Now, are there programs that are connected within the university and the School of Medicine and what we call the Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences School? Yes, there's a lot, over hundreds of programs. Is there an advantage? I'm not aware of one. That will definitely be a good question for the medical school to see if there is an advantage. But the medical school is a very competitive program. Regardless of where you're applying from, you need to have a strong academic background to access the medical program, even within Rutgers University in Newark. What is the most acceptable SAT score for admissions? I'm gonna say right now, our median 50% will probably be between 1,100 and 1,250. maybe 1,300. I want to say like about 50% of our students will probably fall within like an 1,100 and 1,300. 25% of our students are below those numbers, and 25% of our students are above those numbers. But our test scores, it's not the single determinant. It's not a single determinant in terms of, oh, you don't have this test score, you're not going to get admitted. That's not how our admissions review process works. We do a holistic review process, and we do actually pay more attention to your grades and your grade trend to high school than we do to your test scores. All right, so I don't have any other questions, so we're gonna stop the meeting. Like I said, I included my email, so if you guys have any questions, my email's on the chat. This was recorded, so this will be available for you online. And with that said, have a good afternoon. Stay healthy. Congratulations, Brandon.
Thank you.
Congratulations on graduating. And yes, we're not on campus, but we're available for you online. So do not hesitate to reach out to us. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.